Welcome to A Well-Designed Business with your host, LuAnn. LuAnn has a lifetime of experience building a multi-million-dollar business with her husband and cousin, and she knows the challenges you face in your interior design business. LuAnn brings you real-life answers to your most pressing problems, as well as practical strategies to explode your interior design business. So, let's get to the business of interior design.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. This is Power Talk Friday. I have Gavin Zuchlinski with me today. Hi Gavin, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for having me on here.
I know. I'm very happy to have you on the show. First of all, I'm just going to tell everybody a little bit about you, and then I'll tell them a couple of the other reasons why I'm happy to have you on the show. First of all, Gavin is the founder of Acuity Scheduling, and this is the slickest way, absolutely, for businesses to automate and manage their appointments online. It allows your clients to schedule themselves. If any of you listening has ever been a guest on my podcast, you know what that's like because I send you a link. And I was just discussing with Gavin off air all the features of his that might just be a little bit better than the one I'm using. So I may be switching over. But Gavin is a self-professed tech geek, and he is an Espresso maniac. I'm sure we might have to think about that a little bit and ask him about that. But I can tell you in just a few minutes that I've gotten to know Gavin, just a few little bit of time off air, he is a fun guy, and I can see that he is truly what he says. He wholeheartedly believes that business should be fun. And Acuity Scheduling supports, at this point, over 50,000 businesses of all sizes. Okay, people from solo-preneures, like many of the listeners that we have on our show here, to major corporations with thousands of employees. They have an insanely efficient customer service department, and everything that they do is about making our lives easier as entrepreneurs and business owners. So, Gavin, I just, first of all, I wanted to tell everybody that, you know, our common friend is Nicole Holland from the Business Builders Rockstar show, and Nicole has been on my show, and she's one of my favorite people on the planet. And now she is doing this new business venture, and she is the founder of Interviews That Convert. And much like the way you have really developed a very efficient company, and what I respect in business owners is when they do it really well. And Nicole has done this. She now has this interview company, and I'm just going to give her a plug here for everybody, because when I get a guest from Nicole, it is a level different than when guests come to me other ways. And so just, you know, hats off to my buddy out there. I just wanted to say that. And you come highly recommended by her. And I thought it was interesting because probably a lot of my designer friends right now, Gavin, are thinking, I don't really make so many appointments that I need a scheduling link. But I do know, I mean, I'll mention and ask everybody to recall Veronica Solomon's episode. She explained that she has on her website an array of services that you can buy a la carte. So in addition to her full-scale interior design, she sells packages, whatever. I'm going to make up the packages. I didn't look them up before I started talking with Gavin today, but it could be a pain consult, or it could be, you know, a refresh consult, whatever they are. But what I do remember her specifically saying, Gavin, is that she loves it when she wakes up in the morning, she finds that somebody has purchased a package, that the money has been collected through her links, the scheduling links, and she has an appointment scheduled to see somebody that they took care of all on their own through the service that she uses. And so I use that example because that's exactly what Acuity does. And more, but that's what you do, right, Gavin?
Yeah, absolutely. So from all sorts of folks, we help you schedule and manage appointments, but well beyond just, you know, making it easy for somebody to pick a time on a calendar, it's to help you actually run your business. And for most businesses, you're trying to make money. So we help you do that. You can set up all of your different services, any site types of add-ons and everything, have people pick their time, pick the price, and actually pay for it online so that when they show up, you have all of their information handy and you know that they're in good standing. They've already paid for it, so you can just get right down to business of helping them get whatever they need done.
Yeah, so the thing about it that I thought was interesting is that your service, I was reading, provides a detailed intake form. And so I thought that might be of value to some of the interior designers listening. And of course, I mentioned to you as well off air is that a lot of designers now are putting their, hat in the arena of e-design, which means, Gavin, that they are able to offer design packages to people all over the world, not just one-on-one, face-to-face consults. And so that's where I thought a program like yours, a software like yours, could be of value to our community. So and what I loved was that I started to talk about that intake form, because with the schedule service that I'm using, it does not have a robust intake form. And that's why I'm like, oh, okay, I might have to switch. Because no matter what it is that we're doing, whether it's me trying to have a guest book themselves on the podcast, or it's a designer trying to have those first conversations, those first interactions with a client who might potentially be an e-design client, it's all about gathering that information and gathering quality information. And so tell us a little bit about the types of things that, is it specifically that someone could customize it to the information they want to know, or it's a set template and we all get the same information, but it's more than, what you're getting when you don't have this device?
You can customize everything.
Now
so and hands down, you're right. Like being able to collect information is one thing, but the most important is making sure that you're prepared so that when you actually get time to contact them, you have everything in advance. And that changes from business to business. You can build completely custom forms, ask them to clients, require different things. So just like running down the list, you can build all sorts of forms, asking from free text fields to formatted things, to like giving them a bunch of links with pictures and telling them to pick the type of style that most resonates with them, and they can check a few boxes. That way you get like a sense of their taste in advance, or have them upload pictures of maybe what the room looks like right now, and you can have that all in advance and hopefully get an idea of what you're looking for, so that when you do get on the call with them, you're totally prepared. And all of those forms, all of that information that you ask for, you can have totally just gathered up in one place on there too, so that if you have follow-on appointments with them, you're not like sifting through emails to see what attachments that they've sent you earlier on or what they mentioned. Everything is nicely categorized along with them in their client history within Acuity Scheduling. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier as you go from, that initial consultation on to doing all of your follow-up meetings, that you can keep all of that information, all of their questions that they've answered, all in one place, and hopefully that'll make you a more efficient person in the end too.
That's pretty exciting, because it is the whole, I think on your website I saw the phrase email ping pong. Like, how brutal is that, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm sure, especially for you probably have those folks who send you a dozen different emails overnight with all of their ideas, and it can be brutal.
Yeah, so this way, and what I love is that you can go in and customize these forms, and so that's terrific. So let's walk through a little bit, Gavin. So somebody finds a particular designer through a Google search or however, or was referred, it doesn't matter. They get to their website. So they get to their website, they fish around, they like what they see, there's a contact form, and I'm going to make a guess, is this how it works? They reach out, they contact the designer, but what happens is it's done through Acuity, and as soon as they click contact me, loads up, oh, were you interested in a paint consultation? Fill out this form. Were you interested in a whole house consultation? Fill out this form. Were you interested in a holiday refresh? Is that how we're talking about? Is that how sort of the process could work?
Yeah, you could definitely set it up to be flexible however you'd like. It sounds like with a lot of designers, there's a couple of different approaches. You could go the approach of, I want to take a more hands-on approach and chat with everybody one-on-one before we move on and get into that. Or you could start out from charging them at the very beginning, and both of those could be set up. So going down both of those paths, if we're doing just the one-on-one consultation, you can set up a totally free appointments that, although we're going to be talking about payments later on, that's a completely optional thing too. But with that, you could have somebody go in, say, pick the consult, see what times you're available, and have everything everything instantly booked and emails out to you and them and everything reserved on their calendar, and that they get reminders that they actually show up for the appointment. If you wanted to also use Acuity to, get a little bit more detailed, maybe even collect a little bit money in there, you can get a little bit more complex with that flow too. So they land on your website, they're browsing around, they like your style and everything else, and they want to get in touch with you. You can embed Acuity directly onto your website, just embed the whole thing, have it at a button on there so that somebody can just click it and say, hey, I want to get in touch with you, LuAnn. It pops up and gives them a list of all of the different types of services you set up. So in the former case, it would maybe just be one thing, one-on-one consult, and they go straight to picking a time. In this case, if you want to get a little bit more detailed, you could set that up and say, yeah, whole house, I want to do this, and maybe set aside a little bit more time or charge them an initial consult fee. Or you could just go for the basics, like just picking paint, and you have a set and say $95 fee for that. They click those types of appointments. You could, and then see your calendar, pick a date and a time that works for them and also works for you, that's, deconflicted against your calendars, that you're never getting overbooked or anything else. Then they'll go and fill out all of their information and fill out any custom forms that you set up. So for example, they see your big list of services of all the different rooms, whole house and everything, and they pick the basic, I just want to spend $95 and help you pick my paint colors before we move on. Right. So they would pick that. You would see the dates and the times, and you could even do that a little bit limited too. So if you wanted to leave more time for people and block yourself off for a little bit more for people doing bigger projects than the smaller ones, you could have it just be a little bit more limited for those smaller consults. And then on the next step, have them fill out all of their information, upload pictures of what they like, describe and everything else. And then in the end, confirmed on yours and theirs calendars, and hopefully everybody shows up after you get plenty of reminder emails to make no-shows a whole lot harder to happen.
Right. Okay. So I have like 1,000 questions in all the things you just said.
Well,
so,
I'm here as long as you want.
Okay. So there's 2 questions right away within what you just explained to us. The first was, let's go back to the beginning of it. So I'm going to use WindowWorks, my primary business, as an example. And Gavin, my primary business is I do custom window treatments, and I do them and awnings, and I do them for both the retail consumer but for the trade. So in our WindowWorks world, and I'm using this as an example because I think a lot of designers are somewhat having the same sort of business flow. In my WindowWorks world, if someone finds my website, when they click contact me, all it really does is enable them to fill out a form that says, this is my name, this is my email, this is my telephone number, and how can we help you? And then people will write anything in there. I need, window treatments for 3 rooms. I need an awning for my patio, whatever it is. But that stops there. In other words, we get an email with that. And then what happens is we go back and forth with, okay, we emailed you, we called you. I can't tell you, like, it's part of our week every week, me saying to Adriana, okay, the 4 people that came to the website last week, have we had contact with them? I've emailed them 2 times, I've called them 2 times, and nothing happens. So I had never previously thought that I would use an automated scheduler for that. We do a free shop at home appointment because I like to pre-talk to people, and I'm sure designers are the same way. There's a lot of services that somebody could be looking for, and maybe I'm not a right fit for them. But did I hear in there that I could have it automated where they simply select a time that my showroom is open to make the phone call, as opposed to just putting an email out into the universe to us to contact us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Say that's interesting.
And we see this a lot with, people trying to do a little bit more hands-on services, and
right.
That email ping pong isn't valuable time. You want to get right to, spending valuable face-to-face time or over-the-phone time with them. And the quickest way to get to that is, eliminating all of that ping pong back and forth and trying to get them, just straight to picking a time that works for them. You set it up so that that it works for you, so that you guys can chat and have some valuable valuable time. And yeah, you can set that up so that when they click to contact you, they can go straight to picking a date and a time, see everything pretty easily, just put in their contact information like you have now, and then get right to that consult.
See, I like that, because before this, I don't want somebody to just be in my calendar. Like for the podcast, yes, I want you to just be in my calendar. Thank you. I don't need to have 15 conversations with you. When you're there, and that'll be great. Awesome. But for WindowWorks, I don't want you just in my calendar, because maybe you think I'm going to come out and sell you ready-made blinds, and I don't need to drive 2 hours to where your house is to find out that, no, I don't have ready-made blinds. I'm only custom. Call me later. So the thing is, I like that. That's interesting. And for somebody like WindowWorks, where I have a full-time admin, I could just open the calendar up from Monday through Friday, the hours that were open, and the potential client just picks Tuesday at 2:30. It doesn't matter to me. It's I just have to make sure that my admin now makes a note that at that point she calls that particular prospective client at that time. Whereas an interior designer, maybe they have a design assistant or an admin assistant that works on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 12. So they could set their calendar for those appointments just between 9 and 12. Even if the designer takes the appointment themselves, makes the call themselves, because we as the owners are our best salespeople, our best advocates. But she knows that she has her part-time help on those days in order to take care of other things while she's doing callbacks, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Open it up, have an account with both you and your admin, so that way all of those first touch calls go straight to your admin and onto their schedule whenever they're available. Or yeah, totally. What we see a lot too is for small businesses, it's just you. Your time is really valuable, and you can't have people booking in the middle of your day. So you can totally set it up so that those, first contact, more salesy types of calls, you can have it just limited times when you know that you'll actually be dedicated to spend to them, and you're not running around in the middle of the day or anything else. So you can completely block off time for that.
Yeah, for me, I have to say the aha here was that part of me in getting ready for the interview with you was not so sure how many designers make enough appointments that they need a scheduling link for the appointments. Okay. But I know that it was valuable and is valuable for the designers that are doing, like Veronica, my friend Veronica is doing. So I thought if one person could use it, then maybe there's 10 others. But this is another layer, because even I could see using it at WindowWorks, just because all of the people that at whatever moment that they found my website and thought they wanted to be, they were interested in our services and wanted to take the next step, but because they're emailing at 10 o'clock at night, and then the next day when we call them, they're busy, and then we email them for 3 days and they're still busy, or they've decided not on the project. But if that impulse at 10 o'clock at night was to pick an appointment time, that is a much better opportunity for me to be able to call them and possibly get them into my system, into my pipeline, to be a future customer. I like that.
And especially if you make it even easier for them to be able to pick a time and feel like you're really connecting with them, like when you get on a call, it's so much more valuable. What we end up finding by looking at our data is that around 40% of appointments are booked when you as the business are closed after your hours, because that's the most convenient time. So if they're emailing you after hours, then they're waiting a whole nother day until you get back. And then by the time they see it, it's the end of their day. And that just really drags it on.
I know firsthand it's exactly what's happening with us. It happens. I mean, it doesn't mean that we never convert those inquiries from the email intake to an appointment. But I would tell you 3 out of 8, it just dies there. We chase them like crazy pants and we can't find them. They're just like, they're gone. It's like, you almost want to say, wait, you remember you contacted us, right?
I know. If you make it easier for them, they are much more likely to convert. And that's what we see in all sorts of businesses, from people doing consultations, like it sounds like you're doing, to people selling actual services, no matter which area you are. You make it easier for your customers to to talk with you and get the services from you,
Right.
the easier it is for them, the more likely they are to
Right.
actually follow through.
And it doesn't mean that somebody, X percentage isn't going to make that appointment for the phone call at 10 o'clock at night while they're having their Pinot Noir and then not show up for it the next day when you call. But it's much more likely that they are going to than they're not going to. And so I like that. And the thing about it is that, I know what I wanted to ask about. I have a second other question in there, but now following up with this part. So this just integrates, like, what I have no idea how that magic happens when somebody goes to my website and they contact us and it gives us an email. I have no idea what mechanism does that. But are you saying that this is a plugin, or this is something that I would just purchase from you and give to my web guy and he makes it all happen? Like, if I have an existing website, can I just integrate this into my own website now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if you don't have your own website, we give you a handy link that you can send to people, or just link off of your existing one. But what I definitely prefer, so that you look a little bit more professional and it looks like a part of your website, is by just adding the scheduler directly into your site. So for all of the common website builders, we have handy docs for them. Otherwise, if you have a custom built one, you can totally just send a nice little snippet that we give you off to your web guy and he'll be able to do it. Or there's also, if you'd like us to do it, we're more than happy to. We have tons of experience adding Acuity to your website, and there's a link under there where you can actually just request that we do it for you.
I love it. I think you have one new customer as a result of your podcast. I'm just saying. So now my other question was that I thought was interesting, and I wasn't sure if I understood what you were saying, but it sounded like I can direct somehow, based on what you guys have built there, I can filter different types of requests to different parts of my calendar. So for instance, now I'm going to keep using myself as an example because I think it helps people to visualize what we're talking about. For instance, now, if you're going to be a guest on my podcast, I'm going to send you a link, or my interview company is going to send you a link. And then you're going to go and it's going to open up my calendar just like you're describing. Except that what happens is, the way we run our company is there are Wednesday and Thursday is podcast day. So if you have any conversation that you want to have with me about anything having to do with the podcast, whether it's scheduling an appointment or a new opportunity or a collaboration or whatever it is, I'm only going to have that conversation with you on Wednesday or Thursday, because the other days of the week I'm doing window works. And so what I've started to do is I've started to share that link with those people and said, I know this is going to give you all the information about how to get on a podcast and about the interview. Please just ignore all of it. But, in order to have the conversation with you on a Wednesday or Thursday, I need you to take it out of the available time that people would book a podcast. Like, are you following what I'm saying? But it sounded like what you said in there is that if somebody wants to book simply a paint consultation, and we know that that's normally 1 hour, but somebody else maybe we're going to set up our business that we might have a package that's a 2-hour consult, and that's $650. As time blockers, which is the most efficient way to do things, I could set up somehow that somebody who only pays for and wants a 1-hour service could only schedule on Tuesdays, because those are the days I bang out my 1-hour services. But on Thursdays, I take one 2-hour appointment in the morning and one 2-hour appointment in the afternoon. But somehow your scheduler directs the person that wants the lesser time, sucker out of my life to only a certain day?
Yes.
Oh
my gosh.
Oh my
you
God.
can go way more extreme too. I was talking to a web developer actually who ran a podcast and had a web design firm, and they went so far as to set up like Friday coffee meetings where they would have their friends just book appointments with them on a Friday. So you can do all sorts of things too. So you can say like, I know that I have my VIP clients and I'll give them their like VIP private appointment that nobody else can see, but they get a special link that they they can access and schedule me pretty much 9 to 5 any day, Monday through Friday, and they'll get first pick on time.
Oh,
Otherwise, if you have people who, have your 2-hour consults, you can completely limit them to, just Monday, Wednesday, Friday for maybe 1 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon. Or you could get like a little bit more complex too and say like, look, I have this type of appointment. I know that I can do, so many free intro calls, but I don't want to get flooded with them. Like I can't do more than 2 a day, or maybe no more than like 3 a week, and set up all of those limits. So that's capped on the number of appointments that certain types of services you offer can be done. You can offer each of them at separate hours too. It can be crazy overlapping things, and you can set up all sorts of complex rules too.
That's amazing.
But the beauty of it is that after you set it up, you can just sort of, sit back, forget about it, and let the system take care of everything automatically to make sure that you're never overbooked, that you're never double booked, and that those things that you set up as the most important, those things that you wanted to cap, those other ones that you wanted to give freer reign over your schedule, they are all taken care of automatically.
It's amazing, because I'm going to just take it a step further and give another example that maybe helps a designer listening understand. So this is what you're saying is, if I know that because I'm thinking like there's certain times that we want to be in our office and there's certain times that we're willing to be on the road. Because let's be serious, we've got to dress different ways. If I'm going to sit all day and do paperwork, I don't necessarily have to have the high heels, the hair, and the makeup done. But if I'm going to go out and do client consults, I'm going to do all that stuff. So what you're saying is, see, right now with the scheduler that I'm using, if I open up Wednesday and Thursday, whether I share that link with a potential interview guest or I share that link with a potential collaboration, a business discussion related to the podcast, they have access to whatever hours I open up. But theoretically, I prefer to interview between 12 and 6 and have those business conversations between 9 and 12. So what you're saying is, for an interior designer, she could say on Mondays and Tuesdays, anybody who is a simple phone consult. And so that might be somebody that is interested in a larger project, and I know I want to have a chance to speak with them and get to know them before we take the next step. But I know that on Mondays and Tuesdays are my days in the office, so I also like to do my phone calls that day. So the person who comes into her system or his system that wants a phone consult automatically is only opened to a Monday and Tuesday between 9 and 12, whereas the person the same day comes in and wants to book a pain consult, the designer can say, well, on Thursdays and Fridays from 9 to 3, I run around and see pain consults or interviews or whatever is outside the office. And within your system, see, right now, I share you my link. You have my whole calendar, whatever I have opened up. But you're saying I can put somehow parameters on the link that you access based on what you said you wanted to do from my website?
Yes, exactly. So we can dive a little bit deeper. And so to set that up, what you would normally do is you go in, you would set up your appointment types. Those are like the types of services you offer, the consults, everything else, and set up different appointment types for phone appointment versus paying consults. Say phone appointment, you might have be totally free and block off 30 minutes on your schedule, and paying consult where you actually go out to somebody, you might say have it block off and tell the client that you'll spend an hour with them. Also, block off an extra 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after for travel time that you might have too, so that you can give yourself plenty of time to get there. And then on your schedule too, you can set up different availability for each of those appointment types and set exactly what you mentioned of, say,
Amazing.
Monday and Tuesday for phone from 9 to 12, and then Thursday, Friday, 9 to 3 for your paying consults, and manage those completely different, set up all of the availability specifically for those. And yes, you can have people go to your main scheduling page and pick exactly the type of one that they want and see the respective availability. Or if you know that you are have people going through a specific funnel and you only want them to see the paying consult, even though you do offer free phone appointments, you can link them directly over so that they can just see that paying consult and just see those hours for the paying consult too.
That's terrific. And now I just thought of another way that it could be used, and I'm wondering if if it's accurate. So a lot of designers, well, many designers are setting up appointments with vendors like myself. So all week long, I have appointments to meet designers on their projects to measure their window treatments. Now, they're probably not going to say to me, hey, LuAnn, I need you to measure my window treatments, go to my calendar and make an appointment, because they want me to come the day and time they want me to come. But so typically what will happen is their assistant, or if they're a solo, will call my office and say to Adriana, I need LuAnn to measure for window treatments, and I am going to be at the project on Thursday from 9 to 12. Can she get there at 9 because I've got the painter coming at 10 or something? So we're not setting initial meeting through Acuity, but could that designer then go in and enter LuAnn from WindowWorks as an appointment on 9 o'clock on Thursday, so that I get email reminders, he or she gets email reminders, and we all know that I'm due there on Thursday at 9 o'clock?
Yeah, so you mean you want it so that that other person can call your admin assistant, and then your admin books that onto your calendar for you, and you both get the notices and everything else? Is that right?
Oh, okay, that could be. I was thinking that the designer would then go with it and put it in as an appointment and make an appointment for me in her calendar once he or she knows I've confirmed that I'm coming. Only because in that instance, designers, Gavin, what they're going to do is they might even have a vendor day. So a lot of designers will have a vendor day. So they're in the beginning of a project. They've already gotten their signed agreement from their client. And now what they're going to do is they're going to schedule me at 9 o'clock to walk through the project so that they know they can express to me what they want priced for window treatments. Then the painter's going to come in at 10 o'clock so the painter can know what quotes. And then at 10:30, the tile guy, is going to show up. Okay. And so what happens is they'll call it vendor day, and I could see they could never have me decide what day as the person, which day is good for them. But I could see a value in, once they've set up a vendor day, then just taking a half hour, 45 minutes out of their world. And now after they've made all those phone calls and got all those confirmations, entered all of us in, so that basically I might have spoken to them at 9:30 in the morning and made an appointment for the next week at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. But sometime that night, I'm going to get an email like, oh, LuAnn, you're scheduled to meet so-and-so at 9:30 next Tuesday. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's actually kind of similar to how Nicole sets up these interviews with us, is that she'll talk to you, she'll manage it on your schedule, and then she'll end up she has a calendar for me that she books it on, where that way I get all the reminder emails and everything else to make sure that I show up on this. And exactly, like, say you're the designer, you have, clients booking directly with you, but then you know that you set up these vendor days, and on those days you probably don't want any client appointments, and you actually want your vendors to show up. So you could do exactly that, like block off that day from everything else that you have going on, and then you're calling the vendors directly. I mean, in theory, you could also just set up your schedule to open up just on that day, just for, say, 30-minute, 45-minute vendor appointments, and give each of the vendors a link to that.
That's not a bad thought too, right? You could call, if you really do schedule a vendor day, you could call up and say, I'm doing a vendor day 2 weeks from Tuesday. Are you available? Okay, yes, use the link and put your time in. And then this way, the designer doesn't have to have all those conversations. Oh, the window person can only come at 9, and the Tyler can only come at 9. If I'm in there and I'm like, I want it to go at 9, it's not available, I'm not going to say, forget it, not coming. I'll just figure out a different time, because I don't want to lose the opportunity to do their window treatments.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
you could have it so they could just book themselves, or if you wanted to do what you were saying too, that's totally fine too, where you can just schedule it
but
for
then
them,
send me the
put in
reminders.
all of their information. Yeah, exactly. So they just get all of those reminders.
I love it. And so, okay, that's awesome. I love the ways that this can be used. Now, just give me an idea because anybody listening might be like, oh, this is great. Is this, $100 a month? How much is it a month? I don't even know.
Well, it's for the bare bones basics, it starts at totally free, where you can have an unlimited number of different services and appointments and everything else. But if you wanted to start accepting payments or customizing the appearance or get into some of those more, complex overlapping schedules like we talked about, it's only $10 a month. And then if you do ramp up a little bit and you have a few extra folks on staff, and you need different accounts and schedules and people to book with your admin assistant versus you, then it's only $19 a month too. And with all of those, you can customize it to your heart's content, create all of the intake forms like we were talking about before to collect everybody's information, add it to your website so it looks like a part of you, it looks like your brand, and set up all of the different services that you want people to be able to choose from, book your time, and send out reminders too so that, they actually show up for their appointment, and even can send text messages on that $19 a month plan too. So
that's
if
amazing.
if you value your time, it definitely pays for itself. With if you avoid a no-show, or just the amount of time that you save in the back and forth, it's something that so easily adds up, and the convenience and the professional image that you show off by having something like that, we hear wonderful things about.
Yes. So I want to recap. So for free, I can have like the basic level where it comes in through my website, somebody makes an appointment. But for free, here's what I can't have for free. Maybe it's easier to say what I can't have for free. What I can't have for free is those customized, okay, you're a pain consult, so you can only have these hours, and you're a full 3-hour consult or 2-hour, you can have these hours. That I can't do. I can just have an open calendar, probably like the way I have it now with the company that I'm using for the podcast, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And then also when I pay the $10 a month, in addition to being able to layer those different features in, I can have it branded to my company. So what happens when the email comes for the reminder, it says Window Works, or it says Sally's Interior Design, or something like that, as opposed to saying Acuity Scheduling.
Yeah, exactly. With your colors, your logo, and everything else.
That's amazing. Right. Because now when somebody gets a confirmation for the podcast, it comes from that company, and it looks just like that company. Oh, I love that. That's so exciting. Okay. And then when you get into, the only reason you would need to go to the $19 a month, was that the next layer, the $19 a month?
Yes.
Is when you have multiple people. So I have 8 employees, and maybe I want all 8 of them to be in this scheduling life here. And then I need that more robust system in order to do all that.
Yeah, exactly. Once you start to get more employees, that's when you start to jump up to the $19 a month plan. But before that, if it's just you, really $10 a month is where you're going to be sitting at if you need some of that more advanced availability and customization.
Right. And even too, even for me, of my 8 employees, only 4 of us, well, no, I guess we're 9 employees now. I can never keep track. 4 of us are in the sales function. So I would only need those people in it. All I'm saying is based on, it depends. You don't all need to be. You could have 3 employees, but maybe you're the only one who's making appointments or having phone consults or having face-to-face consults. So therefore, that really is one employee that's in the scheduling.
Yeah, exactly. The real thing that we measure on is number of calendars, and generally you'll have one calendar for each of your staff. So, but that's the thing that people are scheduling with. Okay.
Now I have a question for you that I don't know what it means. It said that on the website you could sell gift certificates and subscriptions and share with Facebook, Twitter, Google, or email. So tell me, what does that mean?
Oh, yeah. So those 2 different things. So being able to sell gift certificates and subscriptions and packages and all of that. So say you wanted to offer something where you do offer those paying consults, and your mother-in-law really needs to do something to her house. If you offered gift certificates on there, say I as your customer could buy a gift certificate for my mother-in-law, where that way I could pay for her and she could go book her paying consult without having to pay. We also see people, especially like coaching clients or coaches and massage therapists and things where you're doing repetitive services over time. If you have anybody like that, subscriptions are an amazing way to try to automate that. So that way somebody can sign up for, say, I want to do one consult with you a month, and just have their credit card automatically billed, and they're able to book that consult per month and sort of put that on autopilot.
Okay, understood. So that's exciting. The gift certificates is a valuable resource for interior designers, particularly, we're recording this in the fall of 2017, so particularly this time of year. I know a lot of interior designers will put something in their email newsletter, or they'll put something up on their website, or both, that says, exactly that. Gift certificates are a great idea for Christmas and Hanukkah gifts and so forth like that for the holidays. So what you're saying is all the husbands and all of the people in the world can go right to a designer's website, click, pay for the gift certificate, and then what happens? They email them basically a gift, a electronic gift certificate. Is it? I'm going to make an assumption the way you've done everything else. Is it now also something that's pretty, or is it just text that says, "Okay, you have a $250 gift certificate to Sally Designs"?
Yes, it is. It is a nice, pretty thing that you can, print out and all of that, and then
put it in a box and put a bow on it.
Exactly. You as the designer too can start to customize that as well. Add your own imagery on there. So you've seen people get pretty creative with that too.
That's pretty something. This is really, you have a great company on your hands, and we'll just tell everybody. I got so down rabbit holes with how to work, but see, that's how my brain goes. I need to understand exactly how it could be used, why I would use it, and how it's going to change my life and my customer's life, right? My client's life. But we didn't say is how you came up with this, Gavin. You came up with this about 10 years ago because there was a need in your own circle of people. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yes. It was my mom. My mom is a massage therapist, so riding in the car with her, I saw her go back and forth and struggle with that phone tag with clients, and then having them call up and cancel their appointments because of Aunt Sally's kidney stones and blah, 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 blah. So I knew there was a better way. So I created Acuity for her, and now 10 years later, it has grown from her just to the tens of thousands of businesses all around the world. So it's been an incredibly fun journey. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so amazing. I have to say, I have always, and I've said it on the show so many times, I always particularly love the entrepreneur that sees the tiniest little window of something that could be done a better way and then does it, as opposed to why doesn't somebody invent a way to do this? I think it's amazing people like yourself that actually invent the way to do it. So cool.
Oh my gosh. And she still uses it too. So I love seeing that and all the changes over time. We're constantly
how cool
improving.
For her. She gets to say, my son invented this. I love it. And then I also, one more question I want to ask you before I let you go. I saw something, and I have to apologize because I didn't get a chance to completely finish it. But, everybody that listens to me every week knows that I try and research my guests in addition to what they send me. I always go out and look at all different things. And there was something that came up in a search that was 2 or 3 or 4 times, and it intrigued me, that you went to a 6-hour workday for your employees. Was it just Fridays in the summer? Or tell me a little bit about that. That intrigued me.
Oh, yeah. So a majority of the company is customer support. I really value trying to keep the company small, and customer support is one area where we need to just constantly go at. And a few years ago during the summer, we decided to try something since the weather was nice and go to 6-hour work days where you would work 3 hours, take a couple-hour break just to re-energize in the middle of the day, and then come back and work another 3 hours. And we ended up keeping it. So now everybody in customer support works the 6-hour work days. It's a wonderful way where you can, start your day out, and when you're starting to feel, like you need to get a little bit more re-energized, you have that great break in the middle of the day. And I feel like we are able to get just as much productivity done in that 6-hour days by structuring them smartly as we are in an 8-hour day. So we've done it, and we're really happy about it. And I love it too. So to me, it's not something that's a benefit for the employees, but rather just a smarter way of working where we can get the same productivity done, and you as the person answering emails throughout the day, you don't end your day feeling, drained, and, the person at the beginning of the day gets you when you're nice and excited and the people at the end don't. So that way you can keep your energy level up all day long and keep that same productivity all day long.
And so what happens because I imagine with your type of business with customer support, you have to stagger everybody. So you might have 4 or 5 people that come in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then at 11 o'clock, they're going to leave for 2 hours, and then they'll come back at 1 o'clock and work till 4. And then 2 other people might come in at 10 o'clock. And does it stagger like that?
Yeah. So the company is totally remote, so we have people working all around the world, from Scotland to Hawaii, and all different time zones. So they generally just work normal hours for their own time zone.
Right.
And throughout each of those groups, we have everybody separated into teams. So we've got the folks in the morning, the middle of the day, and the end of the day.
Amazing.
And actually, I empower everybody within those teams to figure out what schedule works best for them. So I'm really not decreeing that type of thing. I'm just saying, like, you as a team have to cover this, say, like 8-hour chunk, and then figure out the best way to do that. And that gives everybody more flexibility within there.
And is it basically, is it a 2-hour break? It's 3 on, 2 off, 3 on?
Generally, that's what I recommend. People end up changing that. I know that there are some folks, I think that the shortest one is maybe an hour break. And we've had people in the past, get in really early, especially the ones in the UK, get in really early and then start to take like a longer 3-hour break, and then work for 4 hours, take a 3-hour break, and then finish up with the last 2 hours, after everybody from the East Coast starts to get on. So there is a lot of flexibility, but it's having that larger break in the middle of the day that I really see the big benefits with.
Oh my goodness, I would love it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I would love it. I mean, I just think it would probably take me forever to actually take the break. I have to say, it would probably take me 2 months to even learn to do it every day in 1 week. But once I learned it, my brain is like, oh, I could get my hair cut and colored in that 2 hours. I could go for a swim. My husband, he always exercises during the day. He takes a break 3 days a week, and he goes for his workout, and he has his lunch, and it takes him an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 40 minutes. But I could never do that. By the time, what was the guy do? He takes a shower, he puts his clothes back on. I'm like, oh my God, I got to dry my hair, I got to take my makeup off, put my makeup on. I got to this. So I don't get my workouts in the middle of the day. But if I had 2 hours or 2.5, well, then I certainly could.
I know. And to get yourself in the habit for that, you just have to box yourself and use Acuity to schedule your appointments that you're blocked off for those 2 hours.
I love it. That's awesome. No, it's great. I love it. I love to hear the innovative ways that young people like yourself are really structuring their businesses, because it just says to older, folks like me, it can happen. It could do it. I even said to the girls at my office, to Kim and Adriana, I think it was 7 or 8 months ago, I said, I need you to both know that if you just want to get up and walk around the block, you can do that. And they were like, both looked at me like, oh, that could be good. And I said, I'm just saying, like, you particularly Adriana, her job is at the desk from 9:30 to 5 o'clock. And I said, hey, if I'm here or Kim is here, and you just want to go outside, you can do that. Oh, and I said, and I'd like you to do it. I don't think either one of us has done it in 7 or 8 months.
I know. That's the funny thing. You have it helps to make sure that everybody feels comfortable to do that, and seeing everybody else around them do it too.
Right.
And it is definitely for the good, because if you are sitting around your desk all day, I don't know about you guys, but I feel drained for a while. So it helps your productivity to get up and walk around for a little bit and stay energized, that every moment that you are spending working is a truly valuable moment.
Yeah, I love it. I think what it is I would have to model it as the leader. But my thing is I'm running in and out all day long. So when I'm at the office, and I only might have, even if I have a 2-hour, 3-hour block at the office, that's the most I'm ever usually going to be there at one point. So I have to be there, and I have to get it done. And I keep saying to myself, just go for a walk, tell them to come with you, or tell one of them, or make them. But until I can model it, I don't think they believe they can do it. But I can't model it because I'm out in and out all day. So Anyway.
I know. It's tough. And I think that's where having that 6-hour thing as being a really more of a formal policy too has really helped. But it is interesting when we see people who start out with training, when you're going through training, it's an 8-hour day and you transition to being, the fully empowered employee in 6 hours. It is a kind of different type of thing. It's a little bit unnatural that you do have to get used to it and figure out your own flow and what works best for you.
It's exciting. Very exciting. Well, I have to tell you, I love your company here. I love your platform. I love the flexibility of it and having firsthand experience with 2 mechanisms that I'm using that are parts of what your company does, and clearly neither one of them are performing at the level that I need them to. I have to say, this is a really, really intuitive. That's what comes to my mind. It's an intuitive product, and so I wanted to make sure that you shared that you developed it based on your mother's needs as a massage therapist, because I think that's very relatable to interior designers to understand. As a solo, you make an appointment and then they cancel it, and then you have to make it again, and it can take you 3 or 4 days to get this stuff done. And your level of, like your word, of funneling them to different types of appointments is the part that has value. Because without that, to just have anybody have access to your schedule, that's crazy pants. Like you can't, because that would be me. I would okay, on Tuesdays they could make appointments, but I want all those appointments out of the office because that's what I thought I was doing today. I don't want to go from a phone appointment to an outside appointment back to a phone appointment. So very, very exciting. You're a very brilliant man there, Gavin. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And if anybody listening to this would like to try out Acuity, I've set up a special link just for your listeners too, that they can go to acuityscheduling.com/LuAnn. That's ACUITY scheduling.com/LuAnn and get an extended 45-day trial to test out and set up everything on a paid account instead of our normal 14-day one.
Oh, that's very exciting. Thank you. That's good. 45 days is a nice chunk of time to see if you understand it and can use it and it's helping your business. I know for me, I already know that all the layers that you offer, that would be my biggest thing. It would be like, okay, you do all those things, but I know how to make them work. So that's where your customer service support comes in. I know that there's webinars. I know that you have webinars. I saw them on your Facebook page and on your website, but you probably could call in and have somebody help you make all those things work, right?
Oh my gosh, we spend so much time training everybody up. All our support is through email, but everybody is fast and friendly and personal, and doing that lets us, look at your accounts, see what you're actually doing, and give you really guided advice to help get everything set up, because every business is different, and that's what we're here for, to help you get your business set up exactly how you're looking for.
That's really your secret sauce right there, that you really customize it. Good for you. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Gavin.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me again today for another episode of A Well-Designed Business. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks in Livingston, New Jersey, your trade resource for custom window treatments and awnings. Learn more about WindowWorks at www.windowworks-nj.com. All of our music is original music by Room 2 Productions. Please contact us if you want to learn more about original music for your business or your events.